Patrick, in President Barack Obama's State of the Union address, he's proposing to raise taxes on the rich. How do you feel about that?
I'd say that's fine, but taxes should probably be raised on everybody, not just the rich. This country has a very low tax rate for just about everybody. Gasoline isn't taxed very much. Liquor isn't taxed very much. Cigarettes aren't taxed that much. You know, people complain about taxes in this country, but they're much higher elsewhere, and they don't have the kinds of problems we have, you know?
So, a lot of people would say that by raising taxes on the rich, it can help the middle class, though. What's your take on that?
It might, but like I say, the middle class is in a bind, you know? Obama's presidency has been good for the ruling class. It's been good for the lower classes, but the middle class is really getting squeezed. But that might not just be something that can be solved with taxation policy. It's a bigger issue than that.
I don't think it'll benefit the middle class at all. I think by raising the tax on the higher salaries and or incomes will only affect those that are up under them, because it's going to have to trickle up and be made up somewhere else as well. And just by raising theirs now doesn't mean that nobody else's will be raised later on down the road. I mean, that's just how it goes.
How do you help the middle class in today's society?
Well, I think by making sure that there are opportunities to open new businesses and or making sure that funding is available for those things, and maybe some incentive for doing that, more of those, maybe that would be a way in order to help the middle class.
Well, I think folks love that show, Downton Abbey, and what I don't think folks realize is that the disparity between the rich and the working class is greater now than it was during those days, and that we need to do something to close that gap between the 1% and the 99%. And so this isn't the only answer, but it's a step in the right direction.
I think it's a good idea. A lot of the time the wealthy gets they get a pass, and they don't, you know, people don't say they pay their fair share, and especially corporations. And the owners of corporations, you know, they have rich lawyers to get them exemptions, and you know, even the wealthy individuals can afford to have lawyers to find all the exemptions for them to not to pay their fair share of taxes, and taxes, you know, fall on the middle class and the poor, or the working poor. I think the thing is that the middle class is trying to be eliminated, and there's only going to be the wealthy and the poor, the working poor. And
I feel that in the past, raising taxes on the wealthy hasn't brought people together. It further pulls people apart socioeconomically. I would like to see the wealthy give more out of their own free will to the lower class and the middle class and the areas in society that need money so that they can improve. I don't necessarily believe that taxation is the way to get that money from people. I would like to believe that if we gave people the opportunity to give money out of their own free will, that they would do the right thing.
Okay. How do you benefit? How do you help the middle class? If you had a magic wand, what would you do to help the middle class?
I think a lot of times the middle class gets stuck because you fall in between these lines of being very close to qualifying for some assistance from the government, and then being caught in a place where you can't improve on your own because you'll lose the government's benefits.
I think it'll be positive for those that'll benefit from it. I think it'll be not so positive for those that won't. I'm afraid that as I follow government and a lot of things that are going on with the raising of taxes, I work in Milwaukee with a level of people that don't even begin to understand economic and the politics of economics and all of that. So when if they'll even watch the State of the Union address, I don't know. I'll watch it because I like to keep my hand and pulse on what's going on. But it's about teaching poor people where I live on 9th and Ring in one of the poorest areas of the city, but teaching them that we have to do it ourselves. And what's make life better for us over there is that we're not dependent on the taxes of the rich or the middle class. Poor people are taking care of each other, and now we're making life better. So that's what I want to hear the president talk about, how they're going to put jobs in communities that desperately need them. And if they're going to do anything with the rich people's taxes and monies like that, how are you going to help make life really better for poor people? Because the middle class will continue to suffer as long as they have to keep taking care of the poor.
I think it's a great idea, and it's been a long time coming. There are thousands of people who will speak out in support of that.
Why is raising taxes on the wealthy good, and how does that benefit the middle class?
Well, let me start by saying cutting taxes for the wealthy doesn't benefit anybody but the wealthy. The past several decades have proven that. Raising taxes on the wealthy levels the playing field and addresses the issue of income inequality and has the wealthy paying their fair share, just like the rest of us do.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree that the wealthy, they already do pay their fair share? I mean, they pay a lot in taxes right now. So what will raising taxes more on them really do? Will that trickle down to the middle class? Is that what you're hoping for?
Well, raising taxes on them has them paying their fair share to all kinds of programs and opportunities for everyone and not just the rich. Funding for things like highways, our public schools, all the things that are facing massive budget cuts and have been for years, because people who make the least are expected to pay the most as a percentage of their income. So it's about time that the wealthy gave back to the community they benefit from.